Oakland County is back in the spotlight for achievements in government operations. West Bloomfield's very own Oakland County Clerk and Register of Deeds, Lisa Brown, was recently named the very first Vice President of the Michigan Association of County Clerks, selected as a leader among her peers by her peers themselves, highlighting the trust and admiration of counties all across the great state of Michigan for how we do things right here in Oakland County. Joining us to react to the big honor is the woman of the hour herself, Oakland County Clerk, Lisa Brown. Clerk Brown, thanks for joining us, and of course, congratulations.
Thank you. It's always good to see you and talk with you, Tyler.
Yeah, you as well. Glad to have you on the show, and especially under these circumstances, because it's a big honor to be recognized by your peers in any way, but especially when they're putting you in a leadership role in an organization that helps our county clerks across the state of Michigan find new ways to do their vital business for our communities every single day. So all of that being said, what does this honor mean to you, being the first vice president of the Michigan Association of County Clerks?
Well, it absolutely is an honor, and to have support from my colleagues across the state obviously is wonderful, but it's also more responsibility. But I'm willing to take that on. You know, what I have found with our association is that the more I put into it, the more I got out of it. And so to me, it was just time. I had chaired some committees, and now I'm just on the path to become president next year. And just looking forward to working with my colleagues across the state in an elevated way.
And something that you've noted is that your participation with MAC, with this organization over the years, particularly the professional development elements of it, has been something that's helped you in your day-to-day job here in Oakland County and bringing some of those innovations that have aided in our elections and other critical work from your office over the years. So how has that experience informed now your role as a leader in that organization, helping maybe some newer clerks that are coming into the state of Michigan, into this organization, or others with the same kind of experience that you have, take those next steps that we've already taken here in Oakland County?
Yep, I've always strived to make our office a model for the rest of the state. We run the largest early voting program in the state. We run the largest absentee voting counting board in the state. We are the only county that tabulates absentee ballots for a number of our communities. And to be able to share that kind of experience and what that partnership looks like with our local clerks, for my colleagues and the other programs, I've had colleagues who have replicated the program I started in Vital Records in my first term. Allowing people who are facing extreme hardship to get the fee reduced or waived for them to get a vital record. I've had a number of my colleagues replicate that, ask me, for the documentation so they could implement it in their county. And I'm just happy to be able to help my colleagues be the best they can be as well.
And there's something to say about scale. You mentioned that, one of the largest counties in the state of Michigan, one of the busiest counties in the state, especially when you get to the election season, especially in a larger election like a gubernatorial or certainly a presidential. And so when you have that kind of complexity and you have so many moving parts from throughout all corners of the county, how does that help you assist other clerks across the state improve their programs and make their jobs a little bit easier at what I would imagine are the toughest moments of their job in any given term?
Yeah, well, we always say elections are like our Super Bowl, which I think is a timely analogy
Definitely.
right now. But just from experience, right? Because we're so big, we've dealt with so many different issues. I had a colleague who said, by any chance, have you ever dealt with? And I'm like, of course I have. So because we're bigger, we see more things. We have maybe some different problems that most people don't see as often or ever. So it's having that experience, but also understanding that smaller counties have different issues that they face. They may have a harder time finding election workers because they have fewer people to choose from, although you can work anywhere. But just coming up with different ideas of being able to support my colleagues.
Lisa Brown is with us, the Oakland County Clerk and Register of Deeds, recently named the first Vice President of the Michigan Association of County Clerks, on track to become the president of this organization that is a big help for professional development and guidance for clerks all across the state of Michigan. Clerk Brown, could you elaborate on some of the ways that this organization helps those local clerks improve some of these programs, improve some of these various works that they do on a day-to-day basis, certainly for elections and so on, and how some of those methods have helped you and us here in Oakland County?
Sure. So this is the Michigan Association of County Clerks. So it's the local clerks have their own association, the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks. So this is county clerks. So there's 83 of us in our association. And but the partnership that I have with our local clerks, I share that with my colleagues. A couple of my colleagues have actually pulled out of running early voting because they didn't have that same partnership with their local clerk. But our association, our conferences are about education. And that is one of my main roles this year as first vice president, is programming and making sure I'm bringing in a variety of topics for my colleagues, but things that are relevant to all of us, maybe things that we haven't heard before or things we haven't heard in a while. We're doing Train the Trainer, so we're getting ready to be able to train election workers. There's just a myriad of issues that we obviously cover as county clerks, whether it's court records, vital records, elections. I mean, there's a number of things that we do. So making sure we're touching on all those topics and making sure that especially our newer clerks are comfortable with knowing how to do the job.
And there's so much of the critical work that's very individual to Oakland County or to our neighbors across the state, those other 82 counties that some participate in this and others that may not. But, so much of the work that you do outside of that, collaboration can play a big role in making all this happen behind the scenes. How important is it for that communication, maybe between our neighboring counties like Wayne and Macomb County, but even those up in the UP? How does that ultimately help make things run smoothly, both here in Oakland County and in places all across the Great Lakes state?
Well, it's a different feel when there's only 82 other people that have the same job that you do in the state, right? And how many people can you call and say, how are you handling this? Or did you see this proposed legislation? Again, because we're big and we've dealt with a lot of different issues, I do get emails from my colleagues across the state, from the UP, from the West Side, everywhere saying, can you help me with this? Or do you have advice in this? Or how do you do this? But I call colleagues as well. I often call Livingston County. She's a good friend of mine, and say, hey, how would you do this? Or it's good to have people to bounce things off of. And again, not a lot of people understand all the complexity that goes into our job except other county clerks. So it's great to have those relationships. And like I said, the more I've put into this association, the more I've gotten out of it. I've built relationships with colleagues from across the aisle, from the UP, from the West Side, all across the state. And we're a great group of people, I'll say.
Lisa Brown's with us, Oakland County Clerk and Register of Deeds. You can follow the Oakland County Clerk's office on their website. More information on all of their services, oakgov.com/clerk. Clerk, before we let you go, about 60 more seconds. As you undertake this new leadership role, what are some of the things that you're most looking forward to as you continue to collaborate with our other 82 counties here in Michigan?
Well, really listening to them, to what kind of things they want presented at our conferences. I've had a number of people, already send me ideas. I've been writing down a list of ideas of things that we haven't had presentations on, and but knowing what my colleagues need, right? What kind of education they're looking for, and then finding the experts to share that information with us if it isn't from somebody in my office, because I think I have the best experts in the state as my chiefs, but whether it's a state agency or a nonprofit or someone who can provide education so that every county clerk feels confident in doing their job every day.
Well, Lisa, we appreciate your time and thank you for joining us. Congratulations once again on being named the Vice President of the Michigan Association of County Clerks.
Thank you.